Hello everyone, Satnam. Welcome back to the Aquarian Shift. My name is Jason Diltz, also known as Tag Akaldeep. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why humanity is not going to be wiped off the face of the earth in 2025 or anytime soon, why we are going to make it through the Kali Yuga, and what we can do during this time of great transition, the transition from the Age of Pisces to the Age of Aquarius, and the transition as the Kali Yuga ends to up-level ourselves. And I'm going to talk about why this is a very important time to be alive. So first, I just want to acknowledge that the video that I did talking about the Kali Yuga, I talked about it from the perspective that Bibhu Misra puts forward. I think he has a lot of really good points to say. I really recommend anybody interested in this read Yuga Shift. It's one of 3 books that are out there about this that I'm aware of. One being the book that Sri Yukteswar wrote, The Holy Science, and then there's another one called The Yugas that came out in, I believe, the early 2000s. I might be wrong about that, but they all have slightly different perspectives on the timelines of the Yuga cycles. But all of them point to mass changes that are going on. And in Yuga Shift by Bibhu Misra, he talks a lot about this period of the Kali Yuga ending this coming spring equinox, which is going to be March 20th or 21st, depending on where you live in the world. And after that, we will enter this 1200-year period known as Ekpyrosis, where there will be a conflagration or purging by fire. His interpretation is that there's going to be a lot of events that go on that will wipe out parts of the population, significant parts of the population. I'm going to talk about why I don't think we are fated to having that be our destiny. Several of you asked me very thoughtful questions about this and really challenge that notion, and understandably so. And so I'm doing this video in part because I appreciate those questions and those challenges to the ideas that he puts forward, but also I just truly do not believe that we've gone through this much evolution just to have us wiped off the face of the planet again. In addition to intuitively believing that we are going to move through this, although challenging the times may be, move through them successfully. In addition to me intuitively believing that, I read something and heard something several years ago that really resonated with me about this issue, and that is something that Barbara Clow said. Now, Barbara Clow is the author of a really important book called Catastrophobia, which I believe has been retitled to Awakening a Planetary Mindset, but I like the original title, and she has said she likes the original title a lot more, Catastrophobia. The idea of catastrophobia is that we are a multi-traumatized species because in our cellular memory exist the memories of having been wiped off the planet and extincted or near extincted multiple times throughout history. If you are incarnated on the planet right now, there's a good chance that you were previously incarnated during a time when a mass extinction occurred, and you experienced not only yourself being killed in that mass extinction, but everything around you, everyone around you, everything that you'd ever known. And though you've lived many lifetimes since then and are now living a life that has nothing to do with that, there's this idea of cellular memory, that when something happens to us in one incarnation, we carry that within us, and that trauma is stored within us until it resolves itself and works itself out. And you can look at what's popular right now to see that there's a lot of cellular memory about catastrophobia. Some of the most popular TV shows and movies in the last decade or so have revolved around post-apocalyptic societies or cataclysms happening, and then people reacting to that. I like that HBO show The Last of Us, which is based on a video game about what happens after a sort of zombie apocalypse hits the planet, and there's only a select few that are still around. All of those things are manifestations of the cellular memory that we have of the mass catastrophes, and this is what Barbara Hand Clow calls catastrophobia. So that's the conditions for why this is there, and Bibhu Def Misra could be spot on about some of this. I don't discount any possibility, but it could also be that this is some catastrophobia, in the collective psyche that he's picking up on when he's writing about, mass extinctions possibly happening in the 2030s into 2040 and beyond during this 1,200-year period. So what I think is going to happen, though, is what Barbara Hand Clow has said, and that is that we've been here before. We've been at this period where we got along to a certain point in evolution. We had a very advanced civilization, and we know that civilization as Atlantis. And then we started to misuse a lot of the technology. We started to go to war with other nations. We started to manipulate people's thought patterns, and that led to a mass destruction of that civilization, and almost led to the entire planet being wiped out in the way that the civilization was destroyed. When that happened, our Earth was essentially put into a galactic quarantine, because if we self-destructed ourselves and just blew the planet up, that would have reverberations throughout the entire cosmos. So the idea is that this planet was put on a quarantine of sorts, and it wasn't able to have access to all of the knowledge and all of the cosmic resources that other planets and other systems have. We exited that quarantine recently. There's different perspectives on exactly when. Some people say it was the harmonic convergence back in the 80s. Some people say it was the 2011 portal. Some people say it was the 2012 end of the Mayan calendar. But the idea is that we're out of the quarantine, and we made it through the nuclear revolution without blowing ourselves up, in part because of the many souls that volunteered to come here to help humanity see the light rather than the darkness in that struggle. So here we are 10,500 years or so after the destruction of Atlantis, at the polarity point of that destruction, and the possibility exists that we could once again destroy ourselves, or we could advance farther than we've ever advanced before on a spiritual and on a cosmological level. And I believe that we are headed toward the latter rather than the former. I believe that enough people are waking up. I believe that enough people are elevating their consciousness. And I believe that enough people want to see the light, that we are going to make it through this transition, and this Earth is going to be something that has never been before. I also believe that holding a positive vibration dictates where you're going to go. If we all collectively decide that we're fated to be, destroyed in some great cataclysm, that thought form will bring about such a fate. But if we all collectively decide that even though we're faced with some pretty gnarly challenges right now, we're strong and we are going to get through those, and we're going to help our brothers and sisters get through these difficult times, then we're going to emerge from this stronger. And we're going to emerge from this in a better place than we've ever been before as a planetary species. And that's the trance I want to put myself into, and I have a feeling it's the trance you want to be in. I've said this so many times on this channel, and I'll say it over and over again. This is an exciting time to be alive. That's the trance you want to put yourself into, because you can put yourself into the opposite trance. And right now, it's very easy to go into that opposite trance. I'm recording this video on February 1st, 2025. A lot of people say it feels like it's December 72nd, or it's January 72nd, 2025, because January has been that intense. I live in Los Angeles. We had mass fires that caused just unimaginable destruction and devastation to several communities here. I'm from Wichita, Kansas, where a aircraft carrying several people from my hometown crashed in Washington, D.C. and killed dozens of people. And then a couple days later, there was a plane crash in Philadelphia where people died. And then we have a new administration that is just bull in the china shop with a lot of the institutions and a lot of the government services that people are used to relying on, and that's causing a lot of anxiety, and that's making a lot of people angry, and that's making a lot of people excited too. My point is, this past month there's been no end of challenges and no end of things not being business as usual, and that is by design. And we have to always remember that we chose to be alive at this time. We are not victims of the circumstance of the times. We are in fact the movers and the shakers and the weavers of time, because we chose to be here. We chose to be alive right now in 2025 and go through all of these very intense and, yes, oftentimes very difficult circumstances, so that we could become stronger, so that we could level up our consciousness, and so that we can have an opportunity to be of service to this planet and usher in the new age, usher in the new Yuga, usher in the new timeline. To have the heart open in Kali Yuga when consciousness is at its lowest point, that's quite a feat. Because as consciousness ascends over the course of the Yuga cycle, which, it's a 26,000 year cycle, it gradually gets easier and easier and easier to have the heart open, because virtue is increased and the connection to source is increased and our divine knowledge is more readily available. But right now we're at the lowest point of consciousness. Material wealth has increased, but the consciousness and the virtue of humanity has declined to its lowest point. And if you are able to open your heart right now, and if you're able to recognize that the other person is you, and you're able to understand with compassion, and you are able to vibrate the cosmos, and you are able to really grok what it means to be alive at the beginning of the Age of Aquarius, then you've accomplished something pretty profound. And that's really profound soul growth. And that's the whole point of all these incarnations. That's the whole reason why we incarnate time after time after time, is to grow and evolve our consciousness and to get closer and closer to being back with Source. And I know many of you who watch this are doing extraordinary work in the world, and you're opening your heart and you're helping people. You're helping people in different ways. Maybe you're helping your family, maybe you're helping your kids, maybe you're helping your friends, you're just helping people have a better day. Maybe your job is really big and you're, actually like building new systems and like leading new ways for people to be together. Whatever it is, if you're watching something like this, if I fell into your algorithm, you're definitely one of the warriors of light that is doing something positive. And just know that by you opening your heart, you've already accomplished something extraordinary, because there are many whose hearts are not open right now. And all of us whose hearts are, we need to just shine that light even brighter. A couple of random things that I heard today that I just wanted to share. This is from Jose Munoz, who's a very fascinating Mayan timekeeper, and I believe he calls himself a time traveler. He said that we're all on our own timelines, which I understand that. But then he said something even more profound, which is that we're all on our own Yuga cycle and we're all on our own 26,000 year cycle. And just think about that for a minute. I don't know where my soul journey began. I don't have that memory. But wherever it began, it's going to be slightly different than where yours began. And so I have my own cycle of 26,000 years, and you have your own cycle of 26,000 years. And that affects how we relate to the times. That affects how we relate to the time stream that is happening around us. And I just found that fascinating and interesting, and something I'm going to be meditating a lot on and unpacking for the next probably years. So I just wanted to put that out there as something for all of you to consider. And the other thing that he said that really resonated with me was, for the changes that are coming, be of service. Be of service. Be in your dharma and know your purpose. If you're in service, you're not going to suffer. And to me, that is the most important message. We don't have control ultimately over a lot of the larger cosmological events that are going to happen in terms of the energy that they set. But we have absolute control over what we do with that energy and how we react to it. And that's actually what sets the timeline moving forward. So stars are going to be where stars are going to be. World is going to be where world is going to be. You know, people are going to do what people are going to do. But what are you going to do? And more importantly, what did you come here to do? And are you doing it? Are you being of service to your mission? Because all of us have a mission. All of us came here to do something, and we came here to do something good and something positive. And we're either doing it or we haven't started doing it yet. So the invitation is to be of service. And if you're in service, no matter how difficult these next many years are going to be, you're going to be taken care of. There's the saying, keep up and you'll be kept up. And that's kind of the ethos for where we're headed. So remember that. Remember to be of service at all times in any way that you can. Reality is a trance. It's what you make of it. And I try to remind myself every day that we need to be excited about the time that we're alive in. Because if we're not, we're just in a state of fear, and we're just contributing to this collective zeitgeist of chaos, and we don't need that. We need warriors of light. So with that, I just wanted to put something positive out there. You're going to read a lot about dates like 2032, 2036, 2040. I will do a separate video talking about some of the ideas about things that may happen during those times. But at all time, always remember, no matter what the current talk is, you are in control of you and your energy and what you're bringing to the world, and the way you can uplift someone in a positive way. That is all that ultimately matters. We have 100% control over ourselves and over what we do with the incarnation that we've been given. And ultimately, the only incarnation that matters is the one we're living right now. So with that, may the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Thank you for watching. If you resonated with this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. There'll be more to come, and I just appreciate everybody who tunes in. Satnam.